it's Mystic Raven on ESO Daily, and today we're going to do the Vet Daily, the Banished Cells. Now today I will be using my Dragon Knight Healer, and we really want to go over a few important things before we start this. The first thing I've been bumping into, and I always have to tell people this, my character, as far as my Dragon Knight or any other healer that I would use, would not typically run Julianus, and most people are running Julianus as a healer. That is probably one of the worst things you could do as a healer. Why? Very simple. Heal over times do not crit, and Julianus has double crit. This is not acceptable as a healer. You have a lot of options as healers to use healing gear. On this particular character at the moment, I am using the Seducer Magnus, and the reason why it that actually needs to be switched. Sorry about that. I do have Julianus for DPS, but as you can see, if I'm DPSing and I'm doing solo content, I do use Julianus. And that's good for when you're, doing any type of damage. But for healer, we really want to focus on recovery. Recovery is very imperative for healers because it allows you to recoup your magicka faster so you can keep your heals up. Once again, it's not about how much damage you're doing, because as a healer, you shouldn't be focused on damage. You should be focused specifically on healing and utilities. Your DPS is what is primarily DPSing in dungeons. Once again, if you are PvPing, you can take all these rules and throw them out the window, because PvP has a different number of rules depending on what you're trying to do in PvP. So if you are listening to players out there who are having PvP builds, please do not bring these into dungeons. That is stupidity at its finest. I know a lot of people watch videos on PvPers and then bring in those builds into dungeons, and then they get wiped. They die. Bad things happen. Please, people, do not do that. Do not be fooled. As you can see, I'm running 5 Seducers, and I'm running the Magnus. This is what we kind of want to focus on. Now, when I get towards my end game, you'll see that I have a Vet 16 Kaggers. This is another option. Izamara also. So I do run later on I will be running the Kagger Mara 5 off. 5/5 switch, and that is optimal for my healing role. I will never ever be using a DPS set. So for all you healers out there that are rolling DPS, you might really want to take a consideration, because your heal over times do not crit. Okay? Very important. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. We're going to go to Active Finder, and hopefully we find something. Once again, I am a healer. I'm not anticipating too much of a problem, but since it is the Vet Daily and I am pugging, I really can't once again predict what's going to occur, but it gives you a good indication of how this specific healer works. And if you haven't seen the build previous, you guys want to take that look up Dragon Knight Healer on my page, and I'll go through the the skills and our loadout. Okay, so we're going to go to specific dungeons, and we know it's the Banished Cells today. So we're going to go ahead and click that, and we're going to queue it. Now hopefully I get it. There's no time on the queue. It is still pretty early, so I don't know if I'm going to get it. But once again, I really just do want to... Oh, there we go. And we're good to go. Now once again, it's bugged. I don't know why this really happens, people. I hope the devs fix it. So now that's another thing you want to really take a look at when you're using your roles. Healers and tanks do get faster queues. In vet dungeons, you definitely do not want to be running hybrid builds. That is very, very bad for you. Okay, once again, I'm going to go ahead and eat my food. We're going to slot my potion. And we definitely always want to take a look at our stats. Keep in mind, this is a little under. We're sitting around 22k health, 33k max magicka. We'll see how that works out. We just lost the player. We should be fine, I'm thinking, though. And boy, they're moving fast. They're serious. They want to get this done. Uh-oh. We might have a problem here. I see somebody else healing, and we need to see... Yeah, I'm set as the healer. Don't ask me why this other guy is healing. we have two healers? Maybe we have two healers in the group. We do. It's not gonna work. So we're actually will be leaving this party. We don't need two healers. That's just stupidity. Once again, devs, if you guys are watching this, please fix this. This is an issue. This is a concern. I love the random queues. I love what you're trying to do with the queuing system. But you guys really need to focus on making sure it doesn't overqueue people, which most of the times this has been happening as of late. So hopefully with the next DLC, this is going to be something that's going to be fixed. It is hopefully on the priority list. Once again, I don't admire devs in their job. I have nothing but respect for them because, you know, if anybody's ever seen what they have to go through, it is quite an undertaking, I assure you. And excuse me. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? So once again, we're going to go to Active Finder, we're going to go to Dungeon Finder, we're going to go to Specifics, Banished Cells. Estimated time 1 minute. Hopefully we can just get this. Now I won't be actually going ahead and getting into that. Voice chat. Bugged again. So we're going to go to social. We're going to go to group. We're going to leave the group. Okay. Active Finder. There we go. Definitely taking a little longer than what I anticipated. Since this is happening, we'll go over the skills again, once again, real quick. On the restoration bar, we're using the Healing Ward, we're using Healing Springs, we're using Mutagen. Now, once again, we are not using Combat Prayer. And once again, I'll cover that because the Dragon Knight Healer does not need that, and we also don't need any of the Mage Guild abilities. We do also have Cauterize and Blessing of Restoration, and our ultimate, of course, is Magma Shell. That will help mitigate damage for the entire party. On the back bar, once again, this is why we don't need Mage Guild abilities. So we have Igneous Weapon. That gives us the buff. That gives us the major sorcery. We have Igneous Shield. Once again, this mitigates damage. Really well used in trial runs. This is why typically you want to try to grab a DK healer on a trial run. Since HOTS don't stack, and HOTS do not stack. So if I throw a Healing Spring, somebody else throws a Healing Springs, that effect will not stack. So you guys got to keep that in mind. It's kind of impertinent to that you, or important, that you actually have different healing types, or at least a different rotation, so if they have any healing over time effects, they don't, you know, that at least they're not burning mana wastefully. We have Obsidian Shard. Once again, this is a damage as well as an interrupt and a heal, but primarily we use it as a heal, but it is nice because it does do the interrupt. Draw Essence, it does do an AoE, it's a self-heal, but the most important fact of it is we're going to gain Magicka back for the mobs, and that's important for maintaining your Magicka. Once again, we keep Cauterize on both bars, and we run the Barrier. Now, once again, this has not been morphed. We will be using Replenish Barrier on this build. Okay, there we go. That looks a little better now. We actually got 4 people. So this should go pretty well. Now keep in mind, we're missing a player now. Oh, there it is. Now keep in mind, guys, ideally we want to keep around 20k health. Anything over is kind of nice, but not necessity. We really want to keep the Magicka pool up there, and that's our primary concern. But since we are a low-grade vet, that's to be anticipated. Once again, when we take a look at the character sheet now, we have 34k and 22. Once again, if you're trying to damage as a healer, that's not your role. Really, in vet dungeons, you should not be focused on dealing damage, because no offense to anybody who's trying to do it, nobody really gives a damn about your DPS as a healer. They give a damn about your heals. So try to keep that in mind going forward, that your primary role is healing. So if you keep to that, you make the group a lot, more efficient. Okay, our leader just bailed. If you guys saw that, I might have forgotten something, I don't know. I find it usually humorous because a lot of times people don't realize that we are recording. I mean, if he wanted to, he could just kick me. And this is to be anticipated if you are a Dragon Knight healer, because there are a lot of ignorant players who are just unaware that this is a viable healing build. And as you guys seen in my other video, we have done this before. We have proven it. Unfortunately, though, console players are still playing catch up, and they are unaware of, the capability of Dragon Knight healers. Now, he did pass the lead, but once again, our whole entire party just bailed. Probably one of the best things to do at this point, because we really just don't want to wait. We'll go ahead and leave group and hopefully re-queue it. Once again, these can be very frustrating times if you're not a Templar. A lot of people think Templars are the only healers, but that's not true whatsoever. Matter of fact, we have a killer sorcerer healer in our guild. Keeps up with any healing role very well, and it's very important if you are a healer, and I don't care what healing type you are, even if you're a Templar, you should be having restoration staff abilities. And not just for weaving and using restoration staff to recoup magicka and to heal, but a lot of those abilities pair well with any of your other healing from your class. So if you're not using a lot of restoration, you should at least be taking a look at that and asking yourself, what restoration staff abilities can I use that I'm not getting from my class-based abilities? Because I can guarantee you there's usually two in there, if not three, because the morphs also take a different precedence as well. Now, once again, Templars are probably one of the better utility healers. I will never question that, but each healing role does play significantly different, and you have to understand that going in, that what's the primary function of this healer, and the devs have done awesome on that. Okay, so once again, we're going to go ahead and select it. We're going to queue it. Hopefully we just find a group and everything goes really well. Sometimes people get a little scarce with the shield and sword, and once again, they're not aware of it. If you are one of these healers dual wielding, please stop that. That increases damage, that does not increase your heals. Okay, it does not do that. You want to go board if you're going to go anything on the back bar. The reason we go with the shield, once again, we can get a 4-piece bonus just like you can with the dual wield, but we can infuse that, put a magicka glyph, and increase our magicka pool. Well, that will increase our healing and give us more magicka to draw from to heal. So once again, please stop using the dual wield. If you are listening to any of these PvPers that don't bring that stuff in a dungeon, that's not optimal. If you want to optimize as a healer, you want to take a look at your stats, you want to become effective, stop listening to PvPers for dungeon builds. That bubble build is not a dungeon build. I can promise you that. It's efficient, it's good, it works for what it's intended to do. It's not what we would typically roll in dungeons, let alone trial runs. Okay? Alright. The queue is still active. I'm really hoping, guys, we can get something going on here, but I don't know. You know, once again, with the bugs that's going on, the Q bugs, me being a Dragon Knight does not help at times because you will just see people. They're scarce. Not. They're not educated. They're spoon fed pretty much. So what's works and what doesn't. Well, while we're sitting here waiting, we might as well just go try to grab the daily. I'm hoping this just queues. Now, typically in my day, I always do my rights first. If anybody has any questions about, your rights, what's the benefits of doing crafting, please leave a comment. I will do a video if there is, people who want a video on that. Typically, I don't because it's pretty much self-explanatory. But once again, I do my rights daily on my characters. That does help me increase the chances of getting my tempers and stuff like that. Now I am set up on a heal. I don't really want to do this mission, but I'll pick it up regardless. We're still in queue. It's going to be one of those days, people. Yeah, we'll try to queue it again. Sometimes this... Now if I was a DPS DK, that would be acceptable. Even tank DK, that would be acceptable. Healer DK, most people are just not aware, once again. So...
Hail.
Not seeing AQ pop up. This is very depressing.
Set. Yeah. Be careful. Yeah.
Once again, these dailies help us get the Trinamac motifs, so I also cover a video on that. Not that this guy is my primary crafter, so anytime I get a motif, I just hand it over to my main. And if you do get motifs that you've already acquired, you can sell those. They are still going pretty well, the Trinamac is. Some people don't like to do the dailies, they would just rather purchase the motif pages. And, to each their own. Oh my. This is sad. Let's see if we have any guild members in the guild. It is pretty early here, guys. We got one guildie online. Well, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'll probably cut the video here, and when I get a queue, I'll try to basically just reset the video for that. So look out for it. I will be posting it today. But once again, if you are a healer and you are wearing Juliana's, please stop that. Oh, wait a minute. I think we got our queue. Oh, and I think this is the group that actually wasn't doing anything originally. They must have got a really bad healer. I'm not surprised. There are a couple of people who try to heal, and they don't know what they're doing. It's, Templar is more of your novice healer build. It's pretty much spelled out for you. So... And once again we have... Oh, no. They're just fighting in the world. Alright, it looks like we're gonna get good here. Unless it's bugged up, because I don't see anybody and it says they're here. We might have to do a quick log. Sometimes this fixes this issue. Once again, devs, if you're watching this, please take notes. These are very serious concerns. And normally I would try to edit this, guys, but unfortunately to do the commentary on this and to try to play it, the PlayStation is limited, so I have to do this as I'm playing it. So once again, I do apologize. Okay. Now there we go. Looks like we're good this time. Quick log in and log out, and we're typically fine. Once again, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. This is a pug, and for anybody who doesn't know what a pug means, that means pick up group. So it's a random queue. And where are these guys going? Oh my gosh. 1 second. We'll go in the voice chat. Hey, you guys there? Hello? They're going to scale it down. That's kind of scary. So, if they have to scale it down, it means they're just not up to the task at hand. Oh my gosh. It's really bad. So if anybody gets to see that message, they're scaling it down. Not a good sign. If you have to scale it down, you're not up to it. You don't have either the right gear or the right stats. Once again, the game does scale you up to vet 16. So we'll try within a couple seconds. If we don't get a queue, we'll just call it, and then when I get a queue, I'll redo the vid. But once again, always, guys, keep in mind you have a lot of options as healers, and that is kind of a nice aspect to this. You know, that you do. Julianos is not one of the gears that you should be like running to as a healer. I'd rather see, when I'm doing on a DPS or a tank, I would rather see a healer and seducers than Julianos. Why? Because they maintain their magicka, they never bottom out, and they're able to keep their heals consistent. It's not about how much you're doing, it's about how consistent the build is, and the gear is very important for that. Once again, also, heal overtimes do not crit. This is very important for any healer. If you are any healer, now if you are the siphon healer, this is the one exception to the rule because you are siphoning to heal. But if you're using any heal over time, keep in mind it doesn't crit, but what you're trying to ineffectively do is grab a higher end damage so you can actually increase the healing effect itself. The Nightblades are finicky like that, but once again, they don't have as many options as like the Dragon Knights, the Sorcerers. Sorcerers are kind of another finicky healing build as far as what they're going to go for gear. But Templars have a plethora of options, and so do Dragon Knight healers. So keep that in mind when you guys are building what you're trying to do. If you are going for a burst heal effect, that's fine, but once again, Julianus isn't going to give you that regen, and it's not going to help your heal over time. So once again, always, and also with structured entropy, not too many healers use structured entropy because once again it's ineffective towards HOTS. Interlight obviously helps with the max magicka. So if you have any questions or comments, please post below. I will try to get to them as I can. I'll call this for now. When I get the queue, I'll redo another video. Sorry about the inconvenience, but once again and always, have a nice day.